Good morning and welcome back to Saruwatari Xtreme. Usually to get things going here at the ranch, I'm up around 4:30 a.m. Unfortunately for me today, if we take a look at the clock, we can see it is just past 3 a.m. Which means I had to drag myself out of bed before 2 a.m. The reason why? I'm taking a road trip down to LA to visit some old friends and wanted to take you with me. So hopefully, with any luck, we'll get through the 101-405 interchange before traffic just becomes insanity. And to top it all off, the forecast temperature today is above 100 degrees. Anything above 90 degrees, I pretty much swelter and melt. But if we make it, the risk will be worth the reward because these are some very, very iconic people. So let's get everything packed up and see if we can make it. This early in the morning, even on the ranch, there's not much going on. It would appear that it's just me and Mr. Cricket hanging out. But today we will choose a much more practical vehicle because those of you that have supercars know that being in heavy traffic and 100+ degree temperatures is a very bad idea. So we will pack up today and take the M3, which is a much more modest vehicle, but very, very practical. And unfortunately, the family mobile will stay here. Since Drew won't be taking this trip with me, now is a perfect time to answer a question that my friends from Seattle, Hutch Racers, had. They asked me if Drew does the soundtrack on the videos since she's the DJ. Absolutely not, my friends, because if I asked Drew to do the soundtrack on the videos, that would result in Drew asking Adam all sorts of things like house chores that need to be done, yard work. And as you all know, I would rather chew off my right arm than go and do housework. Therefore, it is much easier for me to pick from the free music selection on YouTube to get the soundtrack done. I'll load everything up real quick and we'll get going. Well, my friends, as my road trip continues, one of my good friends asked me to come to the shop. Didn't give me any details. And I showed up here and boy, are you guys lucky. There's something so amazing here and so super cool. I will turn the cameras around and we will take a look. Guys, we are so lucky. Abel has brought me to Rob Dahm shop, the man. We have the rotary god and the rotary YouTube superstar. I am so happy and you guys are so lucky. And they just told me that they're gonna go over Rob's insane 4-rotor for you guys. Man, this is so exciting. Rob, thank you so much for having us to your shop, man. We really appreciate it. And of course, the rotary god who got us here. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, literally, when you say got us here, Abel is definitely very much the spirit of what cars you see here, because that wouldn't have been possible by myself. Good ideas, good dreams, whatnot, but unable to execute them. So this is, as many of you guys know, has been really our child in development for a long time, and quite frankly, the time has only strengthened the goal of this vehicle, which is to be one of the most ultimate rotary engine vehicles ever made. And quite frankly, that's continuing to succeed. Of course, it doesn't run yet, but we've got that on its way. So what you'll see here is the attempt at making a high power, including high torque, all-wheel drive rotary engine vehicle. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are already familiar with that, but this thing, I could go on forever, but what we can do is kind of talk about what's going on right now. So one of the things you notice is that it is my original Montego blue car. I sent it to Abel back in 2016, and it was originally this car. I
just want to interject that my car also is Montego blue, so I feel a kindred spirit with Rob here. Not that I'm anywhere near him, but I feel really good about this right now.
That's exactly it. So I love that we left that, because that's kind of emotionally, this is the car I bought when I was 19, and underneath a lot of this wrap is Bondo, and there's only going to get more Bondo, because what happened is over here, you can see the whole vehicle is actually wider than the Rocket Bunny kit. So that's, if you were to put Rocket Bunny on an RX-7, normally it just looks good, but this suspension is actually meant to handle properly, and it is wider than the Rocket Bunny kit. So I made a mistake on that one. You're gonna notice the common theme is me making a mistake and Abel.
I wouldn't say making mistakes. It just, nothing is written, so every time something gets made, you have to make the changes to accommodate for the end result.
Yeah.
This level, you just can't go buy something, oh, it works perfect. You know, you have to go over and over. Like in my RX-8, we had to make the front end over 3 times before we got to the design that I have now, 2 different molds. So, you know, to get it right and to get it is exactly the way you want it, it's very hard to get it right on the first time. You got to play back and forth with it until you get the result you want.
That's true. And really, just like the Corvette, which we'll go over in a second, something that I think Abel and I have done really well is hauling ass in about 2 weeks. I think both of these are like within a 2-week build. And I think we almost shot ourselves in the foot with this one, because even the body work was being done while the chassis was being welded. And in 2 weeks, Abel's team built what you saw at SEMA. And so everybody assumed it was finished. Like, oh, or it's not finished. Well, it was literally 2 weeks of effort, as far as I'm concerned. So it's something where it looks so good. I think we got further than the audience, well, at least further than we were hoping to get. And the audience wanted more. And so you can see this is my handiwork. As we got further into the build, we realized that the car sits lower, and something that I originally didn't anticipate was comparing the height of the chassis, which is, you know, this is not an RX-7, really. As you'll hear it from my lips, that's not an RX-7 anymore. This is a custom tube frame chassis vehicle, but it's got RX-7 sandwiched on top of it. And something that Abel had done that I didn't originally recognize was brought the car as low to the ground as possible, and as a result, these fenders are going to have to get a little wider, and, you know, obviously cover. So it's going to be going pretty fast. I like the idea of it sitting as close to the ground as possible. A lot of you guys have seen the Racing Beat RX-7 do its aerial acrobatics, and quite frankly, that's so relevant because this car is meant to break that record. So that's something that we're planning to attempt, and aerodynamics are going to matter more than anything. And so what you see in here is the final position of a front differential, which other than Rod Millen, that's the only person that you've ever seen with a front diff next to a rotary engine. There's never really been a need to it until now. And so you also see me just taking a intercooler, one of my old intercooler cores, and just trying to get an idea of, we're going to have to be shoving a lot of cooling into the front of this whole vehicle. Mm-hmm. A lot.
The good thing is, like I said, you know, it's all that stuff that is here is really going to be gone.
Yeah.
So that's why once all that aero gets done and your body work, all this gets cut, and we're going to use like the stuff we use on the race car stuff, where we make a skeleton, and everything goes mounted on the skeleton, and then the body work goes on top, just to make it so much practical to work on it and function, and to be able to fit everything. Because if you try to work around what Mazda did and the Mazda sheet metal, I mean, it's going to be almost impossible.
Yeah.
You'd have to have so much planning and this and that perfect, you'd never get done. And this other way, you're just going to be able to work on it so much easier. Everything's going to fit. You're going to need exactly everything you need.
Yeah, that's so true. Because Adam, look over there. See, like there's the stock FD body. And that's, you know, we're ultimately going to tin that out, make some sort of fender liner, I would assume, but then also try and find places to store, you know, dry sump tank, all those other sort of things. We're going to be using a lot of the space in there. So that, like Abel said, this thing's going to get gutted once again, and it's going to stray further from God's light of being FD, but it will still look like it. I think some of the important things to me is, like, you know, are the headlights aerodynamic? Absolutely not. But they, you know, retaining the ability for them to be stock pop-ups. I'm assuming, I think what might make sense, this is kind of thinking off the cuff, is that you could take this whole unit out and put like a cover in there. But I still just like the idea of, you know, making it a street car as much as possible.
I think we can still keep the pop-ups though.
Okay.
I think the pop-ups are still going to be fine, because really what's critical is like this whole nose area, and then behind the tires, so that we can, like you said, try to fit as much stuff as possible with still maintaining everything, keeping it strong, but just fitting as much things and using as much space as we can.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when, you know, when you are going to drive it on the street. It is going to be a street car / track car, you know, Bonneville car, multi-use car. So you want to get as much stuff and make it as strong as possible so that it can function for everything.
Yeah, I think what's going to be really nuts, and I've stared at this for a couple hours now, is, like you were saying before, long before I got involved in taking this build seriously, Abel was like, hey, I just want to break your heart, hoses are going to cost 10 grand. And I was like, no, I don't know. I mean, sure, for your drag car. And now I'm like, man, he's kind of lowballing that number. My life has changed. I've become very pessimistic. But the fact is, we're going to have some massive oil cooling. We're going to stick with air-to-air intercooling for the moment, just like this. Massive radiator. And so what were we thinking? At least 3-inch piping from the turbo, if not larger.
Probably 3.5 from the turbo to the intercooler.
Yeah.
And then if we go to dual throttle bodies, then we can make those smaller just so it can make it easier to route, and we'll still get the volume that we need of air.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to have massive piping all through here. And I'll be honest, I think the stuff that you did with the Corvette kind of is a halfway step for this car, because like the XRP pipes, XRP hoses that you put in there, and somehow guessed the exact length, those, I kind of like that approach for the 4-rotor. I think
it makes it so much easier. You can maneuver, you can things where when you're stuck with certain things, it just makes it hard. So those hoses are definitely, they make things a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to find out collectively, but the 4-rotor obviously is connecting the exhaust right next to that front drive shaft, and so that drive shaft's going to be made out of carbon fiber, which fortunately older carbon fiber bonding processes were not conducive to heat. They've gotten much better with that, but one of our challenges is going to be getting the exhaust to route up and over that. Before we had it going between the exhaust and the intake, and that's why we have a square setup featured over there. So you know that was perfect for that, but we lowered.
We're gonna have to change it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
We gotta make major changes.
Yeah, there's gonna be some huge changes to it.
Guys, I don't know if you know, but what I picked up on that is Rob is feeling my pain. Hanging out with the Rotary God just means spending a whole lot of money.
I love spending his money.
This guy, brother, you and
I love spending his money.
Yeah, it's always Abel's things. Oh, I love
spending Rob's money.
Yep.
Lets me do all the stuff I want to do, but with Rob's money.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes it so much fun.
Can't beat that.
Nope. So thankfully, there's some partners involved, like Garrett, who's providing a 106 mil turbo. So we would have gone that way to begin with, because Abel would have loved spending that money. But thankfully, there's some partners involved that are helping lessen that blow. But oh my God, one of the cars that most people understand, that Adam and I are probably the same guy with 2 different lifestyles separating us, is...
Yes, Rob's is much better. He lives the life, YouTube superstar Adam, busting his butt on the farm, dying, manual labor, all bad news.
Well, one of us has actually done decent times. Two of us have done decent times on the drag strip. The third one has taken a 8-second car and gone 12s in it. I'm not gonna name names here.
12, it's all good, brother. Well, I'm sorry, one of us is retired. The other one, as you know, is making a comeback and will kill everyone. So
that's right.
There you go.
So, but the other side of that whole world, when you talk about the race cars and then the rough vehicles, there's a finer side to life. And many of you that are familiar with my channel know this car. The funniest thing about it is that a lot of people don't realize this. You can find it on my channel. There's a video where I said, welcome to my channel. Here's my new car. And I thought for sure I was going to get 1 million views showing off a Lamborghini Diablo randomly. That video still has probably less than 10,000 views. It just sat there. Nobody wanted to see that. They wanted to see RX-7s. But as you can tell on Adam's channel, we both have a love for the V12. And even though the Aventador was the first one that changed the historical V12, I'll be honest, this hurts me to say, I think the Aventador sounds better. The Diablo...
come on, man. You're just being nice. Please, don't listen to him. Rob is just too nice of a guy since I'm here. As soon as I walk out that door, dude, the Diablo is the best Lamborghini ever built. And I can't argue with that.
It does scream, though.
It does.
It makes a big difference from cruising to when you have it floored. I was lucky enough he let me drive, so I know.
Abel's driven it harder than I ever have, and I got the ride passenger, and that was one of the coolest moments ever, because this does have variable valve timing, oddly enough. So its own VTEC, its own variable valve timing. You can hear it open up. You can definitely hear it as it transitions. But this, unlike an LS, unlike some of the other piston engines that I am not a fan of, which I am actually a fan of, there's one right over there, this one loves high RPM. It sounds beautiful at high RPM. The only thing that has made no sense to me whatsoever is that the Mercy is a slightly board stroked version of this, and that sounds like an F1 car. That to me sounds orgasmic, where this one still has a deeper, throatier sound, and I'm still trying to understand why. But
Probably the exhaust.
yeah, it's probably the exhaust. A lot of people have asked, modifying this car and adding things to it. And I think I can guarantee you Adam's answer would be the same as mine. This is a car that you're appreciating what came from the factory. I would love to get another Lamborghini and do something crazy with it, but this has been my childhood dream car. Second grade. Guinness Book of
leave
World
this one
Records.
alone. Don't Rob-a-size this one. Leave this one alone.
Exactly.
Guys, for all of you that keep giving me a hard time about not going crazy and twin turboing all my Lambos, just to let you know, these two guys are a hell of a lot smarter than me, and they share the same opinion. I just want to throw that in there real quick.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, we're both known for going obnoxious horsepower, and there's some cars that you just don't touch, and this is definitely one of them. And Abel actually said it right: is that I tinker. I am a tinkerer. I know this, and sometimes I try and hold my hands and keep myself from touching cars. But this one is just too. I'll only make it worse, And so that's something where I love this car, and it's no fun to take a girl out on a date with a car that's open piped. Quite frankly, one of these cars has to sound decent to impress a girl.
Guys, again, Rob lives the life. The God here and I, married, kids, we're pretty boring. Wouldn't you say, my man?
Pretty boring.
This guy, see? Yeah. He's got different focus than we've got.
No, I think that my favorite modified, this is kind of what hurts though. At the end of the day, and we won't spend any time on this because it's the bastard child of this garage, but the perfect mix of street reliability, open the exhaust up, sound amazing, is the CTS-V. The CTS-V is that supercharger screaming. The exhaust stays quiet until you open it up. You sound cool idling. You sound amazing. That I gotta give it to GM there. The LSA, which is an LS variant.
See, his favorite is a GM. My favorite is a GM. My Chevy Volt.
Very much taken out of context. I thought you were going to say the Grand National or something. Jeez.
People are having heart attacks across the country right now, at this very moment, brother.
Yep. No, that definitely went off the rails right there.
The Chevy Volt's a great car.
Yeah. So I guess really just to let you guys know, we've got some insane projects. I'm trying to prevent over pulling all-nighters with Abel. I'm trying to give him more heads up.
Please, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I don't do too well with all-nighters now.
Yeah. But the price better reflect it. There better be a discount for not pulling all-nighters. So we're about to do some crazy stuff. You guys are getting to see the sneak peek here. I'm very excited that Adam could come to the shop and hear all of the mad scientists' wizardry at play.
Guys, you heard it from two legendary people, much more intelligent than I. As you always know, I try and hang out with intelligent people, so hopefully some of it rubs off on me. Unfortunately, my plan just isn't working, but I just keep hoping. So here's the deal. All of you that are learning to work on cars, right? Abel and I have been working on cars for a very long time. Rob has the coolest channel because you're seeing the discovery mode, and you will learn a lot from him. So all of you that are always asking me how to learn to work on cars, go over to Rob's channel, support him, like, comment, subscribe, because he's the real deal. And he's starting from the beginning. You'll learn with him. Us two old guys, you're just learning stuff that we know.
I just want to party. I just want to party. The racing took all my party years away, so I got to start now.
All right, yeah, see, that's why I can't hang out with this guy. I love this guy, but now we're old and all we want to do is go party. And we're too old to party. People just don't look at it. Now this guy, on the other hand, single, like super good looking, living the life, YouTube superstar. I don't know, man. I'm so envious, brother.
Well, I appreciate that, but I think you still have a couple of tricks up your sleeve. I think we were talking about maybe doing a little something with the SV and the Diablo.
I think that might be a possibility, my friend. I don't know. I'm just still lost in the whole thing with Abel and spending more and more money. I'm like you. I just feel like I'm spinning all the time when I look at this man.
Yeah. Opportunities to spend money open up quickly around Abel.
And I love spending other people's money because I don't have any more to spend.
Oh my gosh, my man, please. He keeps it on the down low, but we all know out of the three of us who's got the real money.
Yeah, right.
Well, my friends, gosh, I hope you appreciate this. Rob was super nice to bring us in the shop. Of course, the Rotary God, all of you know him. For those of you that don't know Rob, you've been living under a rock because he is the man. So please, again, go over to his channel, check it out. It is friggin' awesome. Even myself, I check it out and learn new things all the time. So, my friend, thank you so much. It's been great meeting you, man.
Likewise.
Oh, man, it was so much fun. And of course, brother.
No
you know the
problem.
deal.
Good deal.
All right, guys, again, it is like insanely hot. It's like dark outside, and I don't know how these guys live here because I'm tempted to ask Abel to just take me to the ER. But in any case, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Well, my friends, I made it back from my epic trip unscathed. And boy, was that a blast. But thankfully, the M3, which is a mild project car, ran flawlessly and did not leave me on the side of the road because, in all honesty, at 106 degrees, Adam trying to fix the M3 to get home would probably result in some sort of call to 911. But that being said, everything went smooth and I'm happy to be home. I want to send a special thanks out to Gary and Lisa Kubo, my new friend Rob Dahm, and especially my bro, the Rotary God. Man, they were all very good to sacrifice their own personal time to get content for all of you. So I hope you really appreciate that. And man, Abel just really came through. He took 2 days off to show me around, help me out with other people, introduce me to Rob Dahm. Also, he went through all of his cars to create the most awesome content for you guys. So I hope you really appreciate what he did. He's such a great guy. And I am glad that I am away from Abel and Rob because those two are just insane. I don't know how they have so much energy, but it could be that I'm just insanely old and can't keep up. But boy, man, those two are so much fun, but I am literally worn out. They took me through so many different things. It's just too much content to even put into one video. That's why you saw the secret tour of Rob's shop, and he was nice enough to go through the 4-rotor with us, but he went through a whole bunch of other stuff, and there's still Abel's content, the great interview with Lisa and Gary, but it all has to be split up. So I'll integrate it into future videos for you all to enjoy so it doesn't get insanely long. Other than that, I need a nap. So I'm going to go ahead and close up, put the M3 away, and head home. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time.